What if I told you that when you die, the government could take half of your home? That's right, 50% of the house you've worked your entire life to build for your family could be seized, leaving your children with nothing. It's not a nightmare. It's a new law just passed in Canada. Can you imagine the shock and heartbreak your loved ones will feel when they realize that your legacy is now being shared with the state? This bold move has sent shockwaves through the nation, with many asking, why would the government have a right to take away half of what you've worked so hard for? And how will this affect the millions of families who depend on their homes as their biggest asset? Stick around to learn the 10 shocking reasons why this new law could change everything about your family's future and what you can do about it. You won't want to miss this. Number 1. Loss of family inheritance. Imagine spending decades building a home, a place filled with memories, love, and history, and then having half of it taken for your family when you pass. Under this new law, the government can seize 50% of your property, leaving your children with less than you intended. For many, their homes represent their entire life's work, their retirement plan, and their legacy. Now, that legacy could be lost, and the home you hope would be passed down could be divided in ways you never expected. This law isn't just about property. It's about disrupting the entire concept of inheritance. When you leave something for your children, you want them to benefit from your hard work, not the government. But under this new rule, families could face a future where the state takes a significant portion of what should be theirs. It's a shocking reality that's forcing Canadians to reconsider how they plan their estates and protect their assets. The emotional weight of losing half of your home could be just as devastating as the financial strain that comes with it. What makes this even more unsettling is that many families are unprepared for this change. They might not even realize that their homes, the one thing they thought was safe from government intervention, are now at risk. As estate planning becomes more complicated, families must quickly adjust to a new reality where inheritance isn't as straightforward as it once was. If you've always imagined your family home being passed down intact, this new law could shatter that dream forever. We put a lot of effort into bringing these important topics to light. What do you think about the government taking half of your home after death? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's just one click to stay informed. Number 2. Increased financial burden. The financial impact of this new law could be devastating for families already struggling with the high costs of living. Imagine your children inheriting your home only to find they now have to sell it to pay the government's share. The 50% seizure could force them into an incredibly difficult position where they lose the place that has been the heart of their family for generations. Not only would they lose a beloved home, but they could also face a financial strain they were never prepared for. This isn't just about taxes. It's about the total loss of a family asset. Even for families who are financially secure, this law introduces new complexities into estate planning. Suddenly, your children may need to liquidate a significant portion of their inheritance just to survive the tax burden imposed by the government. The emotional and financial toll could be immense as families try to deal with losing a key asset while navigating the intricacies of the law. In many cases, homes are often the primary source of wealth and security. This law could tear that away, leaving families scrambling to rebuild their future after loss. What makes this particularly alarming is the lack of preparation most Canadians have for such a drastic change. Many people assume that their assets will be inherited intact, without understanding that the government could take half of what they worked so hard to build. Now, families must consider restructuring their finances and reevaluating how they pass on their homes to avoid being burdened by this new law. The idea that you might have to sell your home just to pay taxes is a reality no one should face in their most vulnerable moments. We put a lot of effort into researching these impactful topics. Do you think this new law is too extreme? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to our channel. It's just one click to stay informed on important issues like this. Number 3. A steep learning curve for estate planning. This new law is forcing Canadians to rethink their approach to estate planning, and for many, that's no easy task. The complexity of navigating the new rules could catch families off guard, leaving them scrambling to adapt. In the past, most people didn't think much about how their homes would be distributed after they passed, assuming their children would inherit them without any problems. Now, with the possibility of the government seizing 50% of the property, families need to understand the legal and financial implications of this drastic change. For many, the learning curve is steep and the stakes are incredibly high. Without proper planning, families could face significant financial burdens when they least expect it. Some might need to adjust their wills, explore trusts, or even consider alternative ways to pass down property to avoid the government taking a large chunk. But figuring out how to protect a home from the government's reach is not something most people are equipped to do on their own. Estate planning professionals are likely going to be in high demand as people scramble to find ways to ensure their children aren't left with a pile of debt instead of a home. This complexity is making what was once a straightforward process far more intricate and intimidating. It's not just about creating a will anymore. It's about understanding a completely new set of rules and knowing how to protect your family's future from a government intervention that could alter your legacy forever. Estate planning is now more important than ever, but with the confusion surrounding these new laws, it's vital that Canadians get educated and seek professional advice sooner rather than later. The law has already passed, and those who don't act quickly could find themselves facing unintended consequences. After hearing all this, how prepared do you feel about the new estate planning challenges? Drop your thoughts below and make sure to subscribe for more crucial updates. It's just one click to stay ahead. Number 4. Potential for increased government control. One of the most controversial aspects of this new law is the increased level of government control it grants over personal property. For many Canadians, the home represents more than just a physical space. It's a symbol of hard work, family, and personal achievement. Now, with the government having the ability to seize 50% of a property upon death, the line between personal ownership and government intervention is becoming blurred. This marks a significant shift toward government influence in areas previously considered private, and it raises critical questions about where the government's reach should end. The question many are asking is, should the government have the right to step into a person's private life to such an extent? While proponents of the law argue it's a measure to help fund public services or reduce wealth inequality, others see it as an infringement on their rights. People's homes, which they have worked tirelessly to build, are now at risk of being reduced by a system that many feel has too much power. It's a frightening thought for homeowners who have always believed in the sanctity of private property and personal ownership. What makes this even more alarming is the potential ripple effect this law could have in the future. If the government can take half of your home, what's next? Could other assets, cars, savings, even businesses, be targeted? This law could pave the way for even more control over personal assets, setting a worrying precedent for the future. As Canadians face the reality of losing part of their most cherished possessions, many are questioning whether this new law is the beginning of a much broader government reach. Do you think this kind of government control is a step too far? We've put a lot of work into breaking this down, and we want to know what you think. Leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe. It's just one click away, and you'll never miss an important update. Number 5. Impact on real estate market. This new law has the potential to significantly affect the real estate market, especially in terms of home values and the ability of families to pass on wealth. Real estate has long been a cornerstone of personal wealth in Canada, with many families counting on their homes as their most significant asset. However, with the government now able to seize 50% of the home upon death, this introduces a whole new level of uncertainty for homeowners and potential buyers. The ripple effect could lead to a decline in property values, as people may become reluctant to invest in homes that are subject to such drastic government intervention. Potential homebuyers might start to question whether it's worth purchasing property if they know that half of it could be taken by the government in the future. This could lead to a slowdown in the housing market, as people become wary of committing to what should be a safe investment. As more families grapple with the fear of losing their homes, demand for real estate may dwindle, especially in areas where the tax burden from this law could be especially high. Home ownership, which was once viewed as a key to financial security, could become a risky gamble that many Canadians may no longer want to take. Moreover, as people begin to realize the true financial burden of this law, some might start looking for ways to sell or transfer assets before they pass away. This could lead to a surge in real estate transactions that may distort the market even further. The law could fundamentally change the way people think about homeownership, inheritance, and wealth transfer, leading to a shift in the market that will impact families and investors alike. The real estate landscape could be forever altered, and those who fail to understand the implications of this law may find themselves on the losing side. After hearing about the possible impacts on the real estate market, what's your take on the situation? Would you still buy a home knowing it could be subject to such a law? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Just one click to keep up with the latest insights. Number 6. Affecting wealth distribution. The new law could dramatically affect how wealth is distributed across Canadian families, and in particular, it could widen the gap between the rich and the poor. Historically, homes have been one of the most common ways for families to build wealth and pass it on to future generations. But with the government now able to seize 50% of a property, families who rely on their homes as their primary asset may lose out in a way they never anticipated. This law could disproportionately impact lower-income families who have little else to fall back on but the property they own. For these families, losing half of their home could be catastrophic, further entrenching the challenges they already face in accumulating wealth. On the flip side, wealthier Canadians who have diverse portfolios, stocks, bonds, businesses, and other assets might be able to absorb the hit without facing the same devastating consequences. This creates a two-tiered system where the rich can protect their wealth through other means, while the middle and lower classes lose a significant portion of their most valuable asset. It raises the question, is this law a step towards leveling the playing field, or is it simply making it harder for the average Canadian to build and pass on wealth? Furthermore, the law might prompt some wealthy families to find ways around it, potentially leading to a larger wealth gap where only the elite can afford to keep their properties intact. For many working-class Canadians, the family home is their only hope for securing a stable future for their children, but this new law threatens to strip away that opportunity. In the end, this shift in wealth distribution could create a society where fewer people can afford to own homes and pass them on, while those with other forms of wealth continue to thrive. How do you feel about this law's impact on wealth distribution? Do you think it makes the rich richer and the poor poorer? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And make sure you subscribe to our channel. It's just one click away to stay informed. Number 7. Impact on retirement planning. For many Canadians, the home they've worked so hard to build is their primary source of financial security during retirement. They've spent decades paying off a mortgage, saving for the future, and planning to live out their golden years comfortably in a house they own. But with the government now poised to seize 50% of that home when they pass away, this once reliable source of retirement wealth could be at risk. The emotional and financial toll of losing half of your home could drastically alter retirement plans for countless Canadians who expected to leave their children a legacy of stability, not financial uncertainty. For some, the home is more than just a place to live. It's part of their retirement strategy. Many retirees rely on the equity they've built in their homes to fund their later years, whether through selling the house or taking out a reverse mortgage. But if the government can take a large portion of that equity, retirees might find themselves facing unexpected financial difficulties. The ability to live out a comfortable retirement could be severely diminished for those who haven't properly planned for this new tax burden. Now, Canadians will have to consider the possibility of losing a significant portion of their retirement wealth just to comply with this new law. What's even more concerning is that many people might not realize the full scope of how this new law could impact their retirement planning until it's too late. Canadians need to start thinking beyond traditional retirement strategies and reconsider how they pass on their homes, potentially consulting with financial and legal experts to better prepare for the future. Without adjusting their plans, many families could face a financial crisis when they least expect it. In the end, this law forces a re-evaluation of how we think about retirement, inheritance, and long-term financial security. Has this law made you rethink your own retirement plans? How will this change impact your future? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more insights. One click is all it takes. Number 8. Potential for unintended consequences. While the intention behind the new law may be to redistribute wealth more evenly or fund public services, it is likely to have a range of unintended consequences that could worsen the situation for everyday Canadians. One of the biggest risks is that families, in an attempt to avoid the government seizing half of their property, may begin to gift assets earlier than they otherwise would. This could flood the market with homes and properties that people are trying to unload, potentially creating an oversupply and driving property values down even further. The knock-on effect of this could make it harder for the younger generation to enter the housing market, as they face not only high prices but also the sudden increase in supply, making it a confusing and volatile environment. Another possible consequence is that individuals may turn to alternative methods to shelter their wealth, such as putting homes into trust or relying on complex legal loopholes. This could create an entirely new industry of tax avoidance strategies and legal workarounds. Rather than the government successfully collecting wealth to redistribute, it may simply lead to a bigger divide between those who can afford to hire professionals to navigate the system and those who can't. This would result in a further concentration of wealth among the rich, who have the resources to take advantage of these legal loopholes, while average Canadians are left with fewer options to protect their property. Moreover, there's the risk of a black market developing for assets, as individuals may try to bypass the law altogether by hiding property or selling it off in ways that circumvent the legal framework. These kinds of actions could lead to a rise in fraud, misreporting, and legal battles, making the very law intended to help the economy more chaotic and difficult to enforce. Instead of a smooth redistribution, we might see an increase in the complexity and instability of the property market, creating more confusion and hardship for families already struggling to navigate their financial future. Do you think these unintended consequences will make the law even worse? Or will it backfire in other ways? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And remember, subscribe to stay updated. Just one click and you're always in the loop. Number 9. Legal challenges on the horizon. With such a controversial and far-reaching law, it's no surprise that many legal experts believe that it won't be long before this new law faces intense legal challenges. The concept of the government seizing 50% of a person's property after death raises serious questions about the fundamental rights to property ownership and whether the law infringes upon constitutional protections. Canadians have long enjoyed the right to pass down their assets as they see fit, and now, with the government stepping in, there's a strong possibility that families will fight back in the courts. Legal battles could stretch on for years, leaving families in limbo while their cases are contested. One of the primary arguments likely to arise in court will be the violation of property rights. Critics argue that this law essentially turns a person's home into a temporary asset for the state, where the government controls half of what should rightfully go to the children or heirs. Legal experts are already pointing to previous cases where the government has been challenged over similar laws, with mixed outcomes. If enough families band together and challenge the legality of this law, it could lead to a lengthy and costly legal struggle that may change the landscape of property rights in Canada forever. Beyond the question of constitutionality, there are also concerns about the practical implementation of the law. How will the government enforce this law fairly across all families, particularly in cases where homes are in different financial or legal states? The logistical issues surrounding the collection and distribution of assets could overwhelm the system, causing further delays, confusion, and frustration for those affected. This combination of legal, logistical, and constitutional hurdles means that the law could be mired in years of challenges, leaving many Canadians unsure of how it will ultimately play out. Do you think this law will stand up in court? Or do you expect it to be overturned? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more updates. Just one click to stay informed. Number 10. Wider political and economic impact. The passage of this new law could have far-reaching political and economic consequences beyond just its impact on individual homeowners. Politically, the law has already sparked intense debate across the country. Supporters argue that it will help address wealth inequality by redistributing assets, but critics believe it could set a dangerous precedent, allowing the government to intervene more deeply in people's personal lives and financial decisions. The law might be a sign of a larger political agenda aimed at redistributing wealth, but it also raises questions about the limits of government power. This could pave the way for other forms of economic intervention in areas like inheritance, taxation, or asset redistribution, creating a more centralized and controlled economy. Economically, the law could have significant effects on the housing market and wealth distribution in Canada. With many families now uncertain about the future of their property, we could see a decrease in homeownership rates, particularly among younger generations who are already struggling with rising housing costs. The law might discourage people from investing in real estate altogether, leading to fewer homebuyers and a stagnation in the market. Additionally, the financial burden of losing half of a home could push people further into debt or force them to make desperate decisions, like selling off assets or liquidating their savings to cover the costs. This could weaken the overall economy, especially if the housing sector suffers as a result. Moreover, the law could lead to a shift in how people approach their financial futures. With so much uncertainty now surrounding property inheritance, Canadians may begin to look for alternative ways to invest, save, or pass on wealth. The uncertainty created by this law could reduce consumer confidence and discourage spending, potentially leading to an economic slowdown. This new law could be just the beginning of a larger trend toward government-driven wealth redistribution that might reshape the country's economic landscape in the years to come. What do you think? Will this law create more division in Canada's political and economic future? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more insights. Just one click to stay in the know. As we've seen, the implications of this new law are profound and far-reaching. The government's ability to seize 50% of your home after you die could change the way Canadians think about inheritance, estate planning, and homeownership. Families who have relied on their homes as their primary asset may find themselves facing unexpected financial burdens and legal challenges they never anticipated. The risk of losing half of a cherished family home can disrupt not only financial stability but also emotional security, creating a sense of uncertainty for many across the country. Moreover, the broader impact on the economy and real estate market is a cause for concern. Property values could take a hit, and future generations may struggle to secure home ownership as the law may drive demand down or create barriers to entry. What was once considered a stable investment could become a source of risk for homeowners, particularly those in lower income brackets who have fewer assets to fall back on. As this law continues to evolve, it's crucial for Canadians to stay informed and prepared. Legal challenges are likely on the horizon, and the ultimate outcome remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the landscape of inheritance and property ownership is shifting, and families will need to be proactive in protecting what's theirs. In the end, it's essential to think critically about how this law will affect you and your loved ones. Estate planning, once a straightforward process, has now become a maze of uncertainty, and navigating it requires careful consideration and professional guidance. We've put a lot of effort into creating this video to help you understand how this new law could impact your family's future. What do you think about the government's involvement in inheritance? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, subscribe to our channel. It's just one click to stay updated and support our work.